Welcome to my personal top 10 TV shows of 2025. This will be a little different than Games in the fact that I think Games was a stronger year in totality of the eons that Games have been around, whereas TV shows, I think this year, not that it was like a bad year or anything, I only watch really stuff I'm interested in, so I don't watch all the stinkers or stuff that doesn't look interesting to me, just like kind of cable TV stuff. But I don't have like a Interview of the Vampire season 2, I guess is what you'll say. Like I don't have this is one of the greatest seasons of anything I've ever seen like I did last year. Not to say there's stuff that not to say like this whole list sucks, obviously. Everything I that is on this list again, I enjoy. Still a lot of great stuff here. Yeah. Let's go.
Good morning. I'm Barrister McAfee, the moderator assigned to you by the governing collective known as the Five. As agreed upon by all corporations, the decision I reach after hearing evidence and arguments will be legally binding. Mr. Cavalier, Ms. Yutani, I expect you will comport yourselves professionally, as these are professional matters. Ms. Yutani.
Alien Earth is one of those shows that I feel like when I look and see people's opinion, it's a lot more divided. And I think that kind of comes with like franchises or even shows that have been around for a long time. But I really enjoyed Alien Earth. I enjoyed Fargo. This is from the creator of Fargo. I see a lot of the same style in Fargo that is in Alien Earth. Now, I do not like Alien Earth as much as like Fargo's Peaks, which is for me pretty much 1 to 3 and season 5. I think of Fargo are brilliant television. Alien Earth is probably more in like the quality of season 4 of Fargo. Probably better than that, though. I'd probably prefer it over that. But we got here with Alien. It's not really... This is where people might not like it as much. Because when I look back at this show, the Xenomorph stuff isn't the peak of this show for me. I think it has some fun Xenomorph moments, but I enjoyed the characters. Boy Cavalier stand out to me. Even Wendy, I think people can have issues with the kid cast. I never had issues with the kid cast. I think they portrayed them well enough, and it was goofy, and I liked Wendy's arc and her kind of taking control of the facility by the end of it. Could lead to problems in later seasons. I don't know how many seasons this show is supposed to have, but they gave Wendy a lot of power, and it could cause some problems for the future. Also, this show existing does kind of undercut Alien because it's on Earth, and it to me that I don't know all the lore or anything, but just the fact that we got xenomorphs on Earth kind of, for me, undercuts what happens in Alien where they're like discovering it for the first time. So I don't hope they go too crazy, and I also don't think the show should go too long. I would say like 3 seasons max. We don't want to get to a point where there's like xenomorphs running around wrecking havoc on like live TV. And there's some episodes where they are uncontained in a city. Yeah. I'm also not a huge Alien head. Like, I just got into the franchise, like, last year. So, I don't have a huge investment in this franchise. But I really enjoyed this series.
No one wants to be my friend. They think I am unstable. They send me from planet to planet committing atrocities in their name. And as I get better at it, they fear me more and more. I am a victim of my own success.
I've been watching Invincible since the start because Robert Kirkman is someone I love because Walking Dead was like the first drama I got into. So I always knew about Invincible. I never read the comics. And as of now, I don't even think I've read any of the ones that are around the season 3 timeline. But I previously would read as like the seasons came out. That's not really doing it for me because that's like pretty much reading 3 or 4 volumes every 2 years. So, the pace kind of... I read a lot in a small amount of time, and then I just forget it all. So, I've kind of just stopped checking them out. By the time it's over, I might. But that's to say, I liked Invincible Season 3 a lot. I think it's a big step up from 2. 2 was kind of blowing me. I felt it dragged a lot. And in the context of the show, it felt a little bit inconsequential. Might have said that right. But season 3, I thoroughly enjoyed. I think Cecil is a standout character. Obviously, you got the Conquest and Mark stuff. That's some of the best TV of the year. Omni-Man, not a ton this season. And Omni-Man is, my GOAT. I love when Omni-Man shows up. But the stuff that he did have, I did enjoy. And for me, there's another show on this list that it's like this season brought me back and reminded me why I love this show. Because I kind of forgot that with the last season. Season 3 won me back over. Oliver, I'm a bit kind of like, sometimes he annoys me, but overall I do enjoy, I like his relationship with Mark, and I think it's a good reflection. And from Mark and Omni-Man, now you got Mark and Oliver, and that kind of, how that plays with each other. I enjoy that dynamic. And it's something that could have been 50-50 on whether I hated it, but at the end of the day, I do enjoy Oliver and Mark's relationship.
You and I were at a baby shower in Austin together, Cape Boar. Claire is one of my great friends in Austin, and yeah, we spent a weekend together. Hi. Yes. But do you remember meeting me? Yeah, your hair was different, right?
If you don't know, The White Lotus is made by Survivor legend, going to be appearing on season 50, Mike White, the Goliath, something I have in common with him. But if you don't care about that stuff, White Lotus is a good show, and I would recommend it. Every season of this show's really fun. My favorite is probably season 2. I don't know whether I prefer 1 or 3. I'd have to rewatch them, but 2 is still my favorite. That's not to say 3 is bad at all. I just, 2, I love the setting and the characters. 3, I enjoy the cast overall, but sometimes, at least at the start of season 3, it took me a while to get into it because I was kind of just seeing like, okay, well, you're this group from season 2, you're the family group, you're the duo group, you're the friend group. Like, you start seeing the archetypes that are in each season. But as the story goes on, they start to individualize themselves and show that they're not really this group from season 2 or season 1, but they're their own distinct train wreck. And that's what Mike White does a great job of when he's writing these. Because every single one of these characters are train wrecks. He wrote some of the weirdest, uncomfortable... I don't like spoiling with these lists, especially TV shows. I feel like there's a lot of these shows that people won't have watched. So I'm not going to spoil it, but... we got the brothers. I'll just say the brothers. That was a bit uncomfortable, if you know what I mean. But that's why you watch this show, for all the uncomfortable moments. Walton Goggins and Amy Lou Wood's characters were probably my favorite duo, but I enjoyed all the relationships, especially the family. They grew on me because when they are the one I'm really speaking about when I say I see. Looking at them, I was kind of just seeing like the season 1 family. Obviously not 1-for-1, but I was just kind of like, we're doing this again. But as it goes on, they get weird. They get really weird. Everyone gets weird, but them especially. Yeah, White Lotus season 3, another great season.
I was here as a professional, Jamie.
Don't you think like that then?
My job was to assess
Because I like you.
as a professional.
Not like that, not fancying you. Just as a person.
Okay, so come on.
Don't you even like me a bit? What did you think about me then? Decide, come on!
This was really useful.
Don't you go fucking telling all that, did it?
Hey, come
Don't
on,
you
come on.
dare!
Whoa, come on.
Don't you go fucking get the fuck off me! Don't you dare!
Adolescence isn't a show I necessarily even thought I'd watch. It's a show that I found on my website where I try and guess what TV show is. It was like the daily or the weekly show. And when I looked this show up, the reviews were fucking crazy. So I was like, where is this? It's on Netflix. It's only 4 episodes. I might as well check it out. Goddamn! This show is pretty twisted, pretty dark, pretty disturbing. And UK, they love to stab people there. A bit of shanky shanks going on there. And youth violence, that sort of thing. So it's a good message. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed the story. It's mainly revolving a family and a murder. But it also follows the police, the detectives, how this whole process goes about. And it flies. It's only 4 episodes. They don't really waste any time. But they will also devote a whole episode to, like, the 2 detective characters that are interrogating the kid. You won't even see the family that is like the main crew for a whole episode. And overall, that first episode I think might be its best one because it just blew me. It absolutely blew me with some of the later stuff that goes on. But then there's also with the therapist talking with him. That's a great one. And then the final episode really revolves around like the family coming to terms with everything that happened. I really enjoyed the pace of the show. It doesn't really waste any time. It kind of, you could argue, could be a movie, but I also think the episodes are very distinct, and it works out that way. If it was a movie, it'd be like a 4-act movie, because it really is distinct with every episode. Great show.
Your Audi has responded to your resignation request. As it may yield an embarrassing emotional response in you, and as I'm duly swamped, I shall leave you to read it in solitude.
I forgot to mention Severance, so this is getting recorded hours later. Don't ask the time. Severance was a great show, though. Obviously, Season 1 was incredible. I do prefer Season 1 over Season 2, but Season 2 does have some highlights. One thing I want to say, I loved Milchek in Season 1, and I think they understood that Milchek was a fan favorite, because in Season 2, I think you get even more Milchek and a better... He might have surpassed... This could be the better Milchek season, which is phenomenal if you're a Milchek fan like me. I think as far as Mark, not as interesting as a Mark season. I think the highlights would probably be Dylan, Milchek, and everyone else is kind of about equal to where they were last season. Irving, stand out also. But as for Mark and Helly, I kind of feel it's about equal, or Season 1 probably I was a little more interested in. But that's kind of picking nitpicks. Like, I like both seasons of this show a lot. I think the standout episode's probably The Retreat, just because it's such a distinct episode when usually you're in an office setting, or the Audis are the ones that are actually in like a real world setting. But not to say it really is a real world setting in this retreat, but the innies are so used to the office when you have this little retreat setting, and it kind of feels like they're almost like scavenging ancient relics. Like, it has a weird feel to it, a weird mysterious feel when you're on this retreat that is hosted by Milchek, and I thought that was a phenomenal episode. I don't want to undersell the Marks, because the Mark confrontation is great. It's a great build-up, and having the Audi and inner conflict, and you kind of having to like pick a side, which one do you, or can you at least understand why any Mark is making the choices he's making. It's a very interesting concept. I love this show. Apple TV, I guess, is becoming the home of like weird sci-fi thrillers, because with Severance and Pluribus, it's great.
We have a special treat today designed to entertain and delight. Please allow me to introduce the one and only Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Hiya, kiddos!
I've always loved Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. I don't know about Tim Curry's version of Pennywise because I've never watched that one, but I've always thought he is like one of the definitive best creepy actors every time I've seen, just as Pennywise. He was incredible. And Welcome to Derry, he brings out probably arguably his best work as Pennywise. It is disturbing. He's so good, so freaky, so funny also. I was very interested going in. Episode 1 shocked me. And then I kind of felt like 2, 3, and 4 were good, but I was like just waiting for it to hit that second gear. Episode 5, they hit that gear, and then it's like, and it doesn't stop. You're just running through walls for the rest of the series. 5 on was some of the best TV I've seen this year. It was so good. I think this might be Bill Skarsgård's best version of Pennywise. He is absolutely incredible in this series. I loved It Chapter 1. And when it comes to It Chapter 2, even though I wasn't like the biggest fan of it, by no means did he disappoint. He is always bringing it as Pennywise. So yeah, if you liked It Chapter 1, you're pretty much just getting a longer version of Pennywise wreaking havoc on people. People don't enjoy the military plotline overall in like this one, or just a lot of series in general. I feel like make a military plotline and it kind of just, they paint the military as like jerks and no emotion, and I don't care at all when they're on screen. I actually enjoyed a good, they kind of do that here, but they have a couple standout characters and reasons for me to actually watch it, especially Dick. Dick also is amazing in this show. I didn't even know he was the guy from The Shining because I don't know a ton of Stephen King lore, but he was probably my favorite character without even knowing that, besides Pennywise, obviously. The kids, they took a while to grow on me, but by the end of the series, I'd even say around episode 5, episode 6, I really started to connect with them and root for them. So yeah, I thought it was a great show. I'm in for this series. I can't wait to see what they keep doing with Season 2 and Season 3.
It's just playing 1,440 hours. Anybody know how long that is?
3 months.
2 months.
2 months. Fuck me.
Neff, I don't know what you're worse at, math or calling people back. Anyway, the clock is telling you officially how much money we have left.
Okay, but we've got 10 months to pay you back,
9
right?
months.
9 months.
Jesus Christ.
Which leaves a gap of
7.
Atlanta is a show I loved, but Season 3, and they went to Europe, it was the worst season of Atlanta for me, and I think it's pretty distinct. That's kind of how I feel like The Bear, but when you know that it was filmed back to back, and Season 3 of both The Bear and Atlanta kind of feel like a part 1, whereas Season 4 for both these shows kind of load all the good shit in. That's how I'd say The Bear is, and also Atlanta. And by the way, if you haven't watched Atlanta, peak TV. That's a great series. I'd easily recommend that too. But anyways, The Bear got me right back in with Season 4. I think it's got that heart back. I mean, obviously, you're here for the characters in this show. Richie, Carmi, Sydney. I think they all bring it this season. I think Sydney's probably the standout. I actually went into Season 4 thinking it was the final season, and it didn't end up being. But I think this would be a fine point that the series could have ended. It's not, and I'm okay with that, because I would like to see, I'm going to spoil it a bit, I would like to see the series with Carmi kind of outside the kitchen, what his life would even look like, because he's pretty much always in there. And so you see him with his family and stuff, and relationships he has, but like a season dedicated to maybe Carmi not really being in the kitchen all that much, he'll probably end up there in the back half. But I think there could be some interesting stuff to do there. And I think at the end of the day, it would be a better endpoint to really have Carmi find peace than end with him just giving the reins over to Sydney. Because the show is about Carmi. There's a lot of times in this show where you're just watching people just yell at each other. And I know it's the whole theme with The Bears, like it's called a comedy, but you're just watching like a family tear themselves apart a lot of the time. This one had a lot of sweet moments. I really enjoyed the under the table scene with everyone. I think that might be one of the like most wholesome moments of the year in TV. And with a show like The Bear, with how much you see characters you enjoy just like going at each other's throats, especially like Carmi and Richie, it's nice to see like that not happen and Carmi be able to speak to people and not like explode or kind of shut down, actually convey his feelings. That's something he's been getting good at, and I think the choice with him deciding to hand it over to Sydney was the right call. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm so back in. I'm so happy that Season 4 ended up being like this. I think it's a shame. I kind of wish Season 3 and 4 did just end up getting mashed into one season, because personally, Season 3 was just a drag. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Season 4. It's number 4 here, so I loved it. Yeah.
So right now, what I have here is a shoe. And what I'm going to do is hang it around my neck, and I'm going to feel protected tonight. Now, this is something that George can tattoo on his chest then after he sees this tribal council.
Yes, when I include these rankings, reality shows are on the table. I do watch a good amount of reality TV. The Traders. What else do I watch? The Traders, Survivor. I know I watched Beast Games. What else did I watch that was a reality show? I think I watched something else. But if a reality show is good enough for me, it will make the list. Survivor. Don't let me get started on Survivor. There were 4 seasons of Survivor this year. Honestly, if I'm being straight up, every time Survivor's on, it's good TV. So it's always going to come close. You're lucky half this list isn't Survivor. But the only one that made it, you won't be seeing it in Tour 1, is Survivor Australia versus the World. If you don't know, this is basically just mashing 3 of the best Survivor players in the U.S., 2 that will probably be on the Mount Rushmore, and 1 that is considered the best to never win. And then you got 7 of the best Australian survivors, all heavy hitters, and then 4 other people from other survivors that are international that I never watched, but some of them I have heard about, and they are also dominant players. So what you end up getting here is an all-star lineup of 14 people that only goes like 16 days. There's 10 episodes, and no matter what happens, regardless of who goes home, it's cinema no matter what, as Riz God says, because even as I was losing my favorites early, you got other favorites behind them. There was a way maybe that like it could have ended badly if like only the international people were left, because I just don't know them. But we lost a lot of heavy hitters, and I'm looking back at this season, and I am completely satisfied with how it ended up. I love the storyline without spoiling it. Of the winner, it's just a great season of Survivor. Personally, it's not like last year, where I think last year my favorite show would either be a Survivor season or Interview with Vampire season 2. Here it falls at number 3, but my only reason with that is I don't want to like put the show on not doing what I want them to do, but I kind of just wish they explored this concept fully and made like a 55-day season with all the best from Australia, 12 best, and then just because I'm greedy and I don't know the international seasons, just took the 12 US and did a AU versus US. But I understand also a lot of these players wouldn't come back for 55 days. That's a long time. And it's a lot easier to convince them for 16 days instead. So I thoroughly enjoyed the Survivor season. I don't know if it's a top 10. That's how you know how much I love Survivor, is that this is like the number 3 show of the year for me, and it might not even be a top 10 Survivor season.
Then, I had my crew mount all the cameras on tripods and exit the warehouse completely to avoid any legal issues that may stem from what I was about to do. I'm not going to show you everything, but I basically just masturbated in the plane while trying to fly it. The challenge of focusing on a task when your body is indulging in its most primal urges was really tough. But I eventually got there, and just like I assumed Sully had done, I was able to ignore my erection in order to fly.
I got onto the rehearsal late. I didn't watch season 2 as it was airing. I think I probably started this in like July or August. I'm not sure exactly when. But I was just hearing a lot about the rehearsal season 2. So I started it. And season 1 was like the weirdest scene I've ever seen. This is a show I don't even want to explain. It's so much better to go in the show blind. He's a guy who rehearses for things in life events, is how I'll just explain it. But what happens in the show is the most like, I need to grab this pencil. So to grab this pencil the proper way, I hired an actor to show me the technique to grabbing a pencil. Like, it's that sort. It's the most over-analyzing a situation of all time, and it like onion layers throughout just weird scenarios, and he'll do the most bizarre things in the pursuit of like rehearsing. And it's the funniest shit ever. It's very meta, and sometimes you don't know if he's like actually making fun of HBO as he's doing it, and the HBO people just don't even know that, or if like that's a whole thing they understand. Like it's such a fun show. It's a unique show. It's one of the most unique shows I've ever watched. I can definitely say that. And it's just so bizarre. Season 2 ups the stakes from Season 1. I might even prefer Season 1. I'm not sure. Just some of the stuff he does, Nathan Fielder does in Season 2 is like so impressive that even besides it being funny, you're just blown away by the feats he is able to achieve and the determination to the bit almost that he has. So I feel like no matter what, you got to commend Nathan Fielder for Season 2. It's like really a feat. This show is crazy. Honestly, for me, this year, it was a 2-horse race with this show and the next one between like what my favorite is, and I could be convinced that The Rehearsal is my favorite show of the year. It is such a bizarre show.
Imagine the power it took to send it. Megawatts? Gigawatts? And that's if it's pointed only at us.
Antenna the size of Africa. Bigger.
You go to all that trouble to send a message. It's got to be more than just hello.
Pluribus gave me exactly what I wanted, which is a character-driven narrative. And the thing that worried me about Pluribus was that there's so few characters in this show. Because how many people didn't get infected? 12 or 13? And then you got the whole hive mind, which is essentially one character. So you're looking at 14 characters, 13 characters, and you're kind of thinking throughout the season. My worry with this season was, how are they going to be able to like do this many episodes with only this many characters? And that is a worry that I still have going into like the future, but I didn't ever feel that in Season 1, so I am confident that Vince Gilligan and the writers, the whole crew there, can come up with enough interesting things to make a series out of this. Because why would I doubt him? He made Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, so my favorite shit ever. And with that being said, Pluribus is very different from those shows. It is not... you're not watching a character try to achieve something self-interested or negative, I guess. Walter White is a character that is building a meth empire. Saul Goodman is a character that is rejecting the good ways of being a lawyer and turning to the bad ways and just being a corrupt person throughout time. Here with Carol, Carol can be just as confrontational and have those same gray moments. And you could even argue that her... I'm going to spoil a little bit. I'm not going to try to spoil a ton, but really, it's number one. You should watch it, okay? So I'm going to dive a little into spoilers. But Carol's reasoning for going to fight them with that decision at the end of the show is a bit maybe self-interested, you could argue. Because before then, she was very content with just being with Zosha. But at the end goal, Carol's actual theme with stopping the hive mind is an objectively good thing. She's trying to save humanity. So you are not watching someone compete against, the Salamancas or any sort of thing or become corrupt. Also, the villains in Pluribus are not like the villains in Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, where the situations are not like a gun being pressed to your head in the middle of the fucking New Mexico desert. Those are not the scenarios you're being pressed with here. The villain in this show is offering you water. It has a smile, and you will like them. Zosha, I thought, was incredible. And Zosha is the villain. She is the villain because she is the hive mind that has helped take over the whole humanity. But I would be lying if I said I didn't miss Zosha when Carol drugged her ass. My one piece of advice going into Pluribus is don't expect Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Expect the characters to be as complex, at least Carol, because she is very clearly the focus of this show. But do not expect, wheeling, dealing, slipping Jimmy or Walter White make it a drug empire. This is completely different. I've never watched the X-Files, but before that, I know that that's the roots it feels like Vince Gilligan took this show and not like that way.